Milo Reyes had mastered being unnoticed. At 15, he could cross Harbor High without a teacher calling on him or a bully remembering his name. He lived with his father above a repair shop and built impossible machines from broken phones. His mother, an atmospheric scientist, had vanished during a research accident 8 years earlier. Milo kept her notebook hidden beneath his bed. On the night before the school science fair, the sky above Harbor City turned green and violet. Every compass spun north, then south, then toward the abandoned observatory on the hill. For once, Milo did not stay invisible. He followed the light. The observatory had been locked since Milo's mother disappeared, but its doors opened when he touched them. Inside, a fragment of black crystal floated beneath the telescope, wrapped in living aurora. Milo recognized it from his mother's notebook, the aurora seed, older than any recorded civilization. When he reached for it, the crystal dissolved into light and rushed beneath his skin. Gravity vanished. Dust rose around him. For one impossible second, Milo saw every current of energy in the city. Electricity, motion, heat, even his own heartbeat. Then the dome exploded open. Milo woke at sunrise with no injuries, a glowing line across his palm, and the certain knowledge that something inside him was awake. Milo tried to pretend nothing had happened. At the science fair, that plan lasted 11 minutes. A student knocked over a rack of chemicals. Glass and liquid fell toward a crowded table, and the world slowed. Milo walked between frozen droplets, caught every beaker, and pushed the table upright. When normal time returned, the room erupted, but Milo ran. His best friend, Zara Kim, followed him to the roof. She had recorded everything. Frame by frame, Milo was surrounded by luminous threads. He had not stopped time. He had absorbed motion and released it by choice. As panic rose, the power changed. Wind circled his feet, and he lifted 3 meters into the air. Zara grinned. "Okay," she said. "We're testing this." On rooftops and abandoned courts, Zara turned Milo's impossible life into a science project. Fear created shields. Focus bent gravity. Joy became flight. Anger released dangerous waves of force. The glowing line on his palm expanded into a map that changed after every test. The power was not one ability. It was learning to answer whatever Milo needed. They named it resonance. For the first time, Milo felt larger than the quiet kid everyone overlooked. Then he tried to lift a city bus, lost control, and nearly dropped it into traffic. A silver-haired woman stopped the bus with a magnetic field. Dr. Ilara Sable of the Helix Institute studied Milo's glowing hand. "Your mother made the same mistake," she said. "Believing the seed chooses heroes." Helix drones surrounded the rooftop before Milo could ask what Dr. Sable meant. She claimed the Aurora seed was destabilizing Harbor City's magnetic field. In 48 hours, satellites would fail, power grids would burn, and a storm would tear through the coast. Milo had to surrender for extraction. Zara saw the drones lock weapons and shouted a warning. Milo raised a shield, but fear made it too strong. The blast threw drones toward nearby buildings. He changed tactics, absorbed their momentum, and set them gently on the roof. The power adapted again. Milo grabbed Zara and flew, barely clearing the bridge as Helix machines followed. Sable's voice chased them through public screens. "You are not becoming a superhero," she said. "You are becoming an extinction event." Zara traced the map in Milo's palm to a Helix laboratory beneath the harbor. There, they found a recording from his mother, Dr. Sophia Reyes. Aurora seeds were pieces of a planetary network designed to stabilize worlds. Helix had tried to control that network as a weapon. Sophia hid the primary seed, but during her escape, her body was pulled into its energy field. She had not survived normal. Fragments of her mind remained inside the resonance. Dr. Sable had been her partner and believed extraction was the only way to prevent another loss. The recording ended with Sophia speaking to Milo. "The power will become whatever fear demands," she said, "or whatever love chooses. That decision is yours." Helix captured them before they could escape. Milo woke inside an extraction chamber while the storm grew above the city. Sable admitted the procedure might save Harbor City, but it would erase Milo's memories and could stop his heart. She called the sacrifice necessary. Milo asked whether his mother had agreed to hers. Sable could not answer. Zara escaped through ventilation ducts, hacked the chamber, and opened every magnetic lock. The extraction beam tore at the resonance, but instead of leaving Milo, the light spread through the laboratory. Machines floated, walls folded like paper. Milo felt the fear of everyone inside, and power began turning that fear into a weapon. He remembered his mother's message. He chose not to fight. He chose to listen. Listening changed everything. Milo sensed 12 seed fragments buried beneath Harbor City, each calling to the one inside him. The storm was not an explosion. It was an unfinished connection. Destroying his seed would leave the network broken and make the disaster permanent. Milo told Sable they must carry Helix's field generator to the observatory and synchronize every fragment. She resisted until the city lost power and the ocean rose against the seawall. Then she gave him her access codes. Zara linked school satellites into a temporary array. Helix crews protected evacuation routes. Milo flew toward the observatory through lightning that bent around his body. He was no longer asking which power he had. He finally understood. The power was choice made physical. At the observatory, 12 columns of aurora struck the dome. Milo pulled gravity away from collapsing buildings, caught a wave above the harbor, and formed a shield across the city. Every ability arrived at once, but the network demanded more energy than his body could hold. Zara begged him to disconnect. Milo saw his mother within the light, not a ghost, but a final memory preserved by the seed. Sophia placed her hand against his and released the energy she had carried for 8 years. Mother and son completed the circuit together. The storm folded into a sphere of color, rose above the clouds, and burst silently across the world. Harbor City's lights returned. Milo fell from the sky, and Dr. Sable caught him with her magnetic field. Milo woke 3 days later in the repair shop. The glowing line on his palm remained, but calm now, no longer changing without permission. Harbor City knew someone had saved it, though the news could not agree on who. Sable reopened Helix as a public research institute and gave Zara a laboratory, under supervision, which Zara ignored immediately. Milo returned to school. He still hated being called on and still had homework, but when a train lost power above the river, he stepped into the open, surrounded by green and violet light, and lifted it safely to the bridge. A child asked his name. Milo looked at the aurora pulsing around his hands. "Pulse," he said. For the first time, being seen did not frighten him. It felt like flying.